Hey, Tony. Tony. Oh, Tony. Wrestling fans, on the heels of the MMA Power Hours, because it was definitely more than 1 hour. Tony Khan, he's going to have quite the media scrum for Ring of Honor. He's going to have to do a lot of talking or a lot of bouncing around because it's going to be tough to avoid the amount of questions that he is probably going to get hit with in just a few days. I mean, let alone Wednesday if he's still doing the media scrums for AEW Dynamite, and I'm not sure if he is. If he is, it's going to be one heck of a week for him leading up to Ring of Honor's pay-per-view. The thing with Tony Khan is that I have a lot in common with Tony Khan. You strip away all the billions and billions of dollars. We had a very similar trajectory growing up, very similar childhood. He loved to book. He loved to be the booker. I still do. And he loved. I don't know if he traveled the places that I traveled. I had a Daewoo computer in 1997, and on the Daewoo computer, I played. I went to Rec Sport Pro slash Wrestling Fantasy. It was a news board, and you can start your own email wrestling federation. And I started my own. There were guys on there: Eric Cooper, Anthony Brigano, Brett Katecki, Chris Douglas, Andrew Tucker. Became friends with a lot of these guys. I was living on the West Coast. They lived on the East Coast. And we all got together on this news board and we started email wrestling federations where you could be a wrestler or you could be an owner. And I chose to be an owner. And I was really young. So I would write out these shows. They'd be like 130 pages. And, I'd put them out there to the masses. I riddled with spelling errors. Most of it was copied from play-by-play that I heard from Joey Styles because I was a big Joey Styles fan. Still am. I think he's one of the most underappreciated commentators in professional wrestling, and that is my opinion. And you guys are welcome to flame me for that, but I feel that he did a lot in this business, and yeah, I mean, it entertained me to no end. However, I'm getting off track. Back on it. Rec Sport, Pro Wrestling Fantasy. Then from there was TNM. Oliver Kopp, I believe was his name. He made a text-based simulator, short for tournament, and TNM 7. I had that's how I learned all the wrestlers' names. That's how I learned about all that. That and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I would go to the grocery store. I'd go in the magazine aisle. I found Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and in the back, they had results from all these shows, mostly from the East Coast. And then that's where I was familiarized with names like Cheetah Master, Ace Darling, Devon Storm, Reckless Youth. Uh, um, Man, I'm drawing a blank. Lance Diamond, who would later be known as Simon Diamond, all of that. So I'm like in that age, familiar with all of these guys, mostly watching WWF, WCW, and then ECW started to become more prevalent when I started to do tape trading. And I got the first ECW pay per view, barely legal, via a guy from Las Vegas. He mailed me the tape. I paid for it. And it was all I watched. I just kept watching it over and over again. And all of my shows, it was basically barely legal, just done a different way. Just remove the Dudleys, remove the Eliminators, remove Shane Douglas, and just add whoever. So I understand Tony Khan. I get him. Another thing that I feel like we have in common, based on what I've heard from CM Punk during his interview, strictly from his interview, strictly from that, like he has trouble managing. And if that is true, then we also share a lot in common because I did a lot of restaurant managing, not wrestling managing, but restaurant managing for a long time. And I did have a problem with actually managing the talent. I wanted them all to like me. And that's the truth. And I had to wrestle with that a lot. And then I had to find ways to manage because I didn't want to manage like some of the a-holes that I dealt with before I was a restaurant manager when I was washing dishes or serving tables or even a bartender. I had to deal with some guys that were tyrants. They were a-holes. And I didn't want to be like them. I didn't want to take their habits and all their bad energy and give that to my staff. So I tried to find a different way. And if what CM Punk was saying is true, Tony Khan has to find his own way. And he's going to have to be hands on. He's going to have to deal with spoilers. If he can't trust that his staff is going to keep their mouth shut during meetings, then he's just going to have to deal with it because getting on the same page in production meetings, talking about how the show is going to play out, getting on the same page with your staff, figuring out what your performers are going to say when they get in the ring, you're going to have to at least get on that wavelength if you're not already. And I think you'll see a change in your product. That is my opinion. Outsider looking in, wrestling fan trying to give advice to wrestling CEO, wrestling owner. But that's my opinion. Unsolicited, of course. So Tony Khan is going to have a heck of a week. He's got a lot to answer to. He's got the CM Punk situation. He let a load of wrestlers go, including Dasha. Dasha was a shocker to me because I hear her all the time. I think that was her for Collision. Dasha's going to be missed. And from all accounts, what I've read, she is going to be missed. Stu Grayson let go again. Anthony Henry let go, and I think he just broke his jaw. It's still wired. And also, Tony Khan made a promise that he wouldn't fire anybody. He wouldn't do mass releases. He was trying to stick it to the WWE. More specifically, I feel he was trying to stick it to Vince, but he made a promise. And for whatever reason, maybe it was the large contracts that were given to Kazuchika Okada, Mercedes Moné, Will Ospreay. But for whatever reason, he has gone back on that, and there was a massive release. I mean, massive is in AEW terms, it was massive. Nobody got let go that, and with all due respect, nobody was let go that was earth shattering that we're going to see show up on Monday Night Raw, the Raw after WrestleMania. And yes, I call it Monday Night Raw because I'm an old head. That's what it was called. I mean, pretty soon I'm going to start calling it Raw is War. Hence why I had the theme playing at the beginning. Because I'm an old head. Daewoo, 1997, Rex Sport Pro Wrestling Fantasy. If anybody knows what Rex Sport Pro Wrestling Fantasy is, leave a comment. My jaw will literally drop on the floor if anybody is familiar with that. That's a deep cut. Microsoft, CompuServe, AOL, you've got mail. So I've done the 60-second Raw review, the 60-second Dynamite review. I don't know if I'm going to do a 60-second WrestleMania review because it's 2 nights and 120 seconds to probably go over what happened. I ain't going to be able to do it. I'm going to get stomped into the ground in my Drew McIntyre. That's not even Drew McIntyre. That's Shrek. And Donkey is CM Punk, apparently, right? So I just wanted to give you guys that update. Also, let you know about the Tony Khan situation. Want to know what you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. Look, you already opened the portal. You are already in the vortex. It's just going to keep absorbing everything that's in its wake. So you might as well join up. Wrestling heads unite. All heads. All of you. We're all going to unite. But I will have a WrestleMania 40 review both nights, and they will be more than 60 seconds apiece. Yeah, it's going to have to happen that way. But that's all for now. A couple more videos to come. Thanks for watching. Thank you all for all your support and all of your comments. It is much appreciated. Makes a wrestling old head smile. Wrestling fans, as always, stay united.